The Holocaust is understandably one of the darkest times in history. Nazis murdered nearly 6 million Jewish people, and through the horror, we are finding new symbols of hope that survived. Tonight, Zahid Arab shows us how they're being used here in the Valley.
In this crowded concert hall,
Judy's looking for us. Did you see her?
even before the first note is played,
It will also be a very emotional experience as well.
there's a rhythm of a nervous heartbeat. This performance is one Ilana and Daniel Storch have been waiting to experience for a long time.
This is my grandparents as a young couple.
The story starts with Daniel's grandmother, Elsa, a young musician in Germany.
She was identified when she was quite young as being quite talented and having a gift for this.
The gift eventually passed on to Elsa's daughter, Ruth.
They sailed on the SS Deutschland from Hamburg on May 11th, 1939.
The Nazi invasion changed everything. Friends and neighbors were sent to concentration camps,
These were people just like you and me.
but the family managed to escape.
Mother left Germany in January of 1939 and went to Antwerp on the Kindertransport.
It was a matter of survival.
They sold nearly everything except Elsa's violin to flee for safety in the U.S. After Elsa's death, her prized possession was passed on to the next generation.
Music has always been a part of our family through the generations.
And for nearly 50 years, it aged, unplayed, and untouched in a Phoenix home.
Violins really don't belong in a closet, they belong in a musician's hand. From time to time we've thought about having it restored and we just never knew where to go, who to bring it to, especially here in Phoenix.
He was too afraid to hand it over to anybody because he was concerned about ever seeing it again.
A couple of years ago we heard about this Violins of Hope project.
A project started by a father and son in Israel, Amnon and Avshi Weinstein, whose life passion is restoring instruments from the Holocaust.
I turned to my husband and I said to him, if we could turn the violin over to these luthiers, would you be willing to hand it over and have it restored? And he said, for sure.
Within days, Ilana flew up to San Francisco to meet the Weinsteins.
I basically threatened him within an inch of his life if he should ever not keep a good eye on it.
In their workshop, some instruments can take more than a year to carefully restore.
And you cannot repair his suffering.
All this work to prepare for this moment. It will be nearly a year before the Storch violin is silent no more and able to join these nearly 50 other violins. All of them restored too. Survivors of the Holocaust, marked with the Star of David. On this night, the violins are finally telling their stories, interpreted through an orchestra of musicians and absorbed by a crowd of strangers, connected by a horrible time in history.
It's restoring people's voices. 6 million voices were murdered.
6 million Jewish people were killed. Can you see what is 6 million? Do you know this number? Can we understand this number? Never. But when you see one violin, and we know that this is a story of one man, and then we are telling the story of the man, and you hear the violin, the Holocaust is coming to life. And for the children is the most important because they have to learn what hatred could do.
Music is so powerful because it's like this universal language.
The violin is a port of entry to understanding the whole history of the Holocaust, number one, and then even in a broader sense, understanding what happens when societies get overwhelmed with racism or discrimination.
Man's inhumanity to man, and that we still see it today.
We want to be together, we want to do something together, we want to do something for the sake of future, and this is beginning with a very simple thing, music.
A lesson told through each tear tonight, for future generations, for Ruth, for Elsa.
Zahid Arab reporting. The Storch violin, by the way, is on display with others at the Scottsdale Center for the Arts. The exhibit is free, and this weekend you can still get tickets to see a world-renowned violinist performing stories of Jewish musicians and refugees in Shanghai during the Holocaust. That's at the Arizona Science Center.